This chilling footage shows a wife putting poison in her husband's coffee. The husband, who is an Air Force officer, began to notice that his coffee tasted weird. He suspected that someone was pouring bleach in it and decided to test it. And what he found was completely unbelievable.
Look at that. Totally changed. Wow. Wow. And you can smell it. Like, I can literally smell this.
But what made Melody Felicano do something so despicable to someone she vowed to love and protect? How long had she been doing this? And why did she just get a slap on the wrist for her crime? Let's explore the shocking case of the evil wife who was caught on camera poisoning her Air Force husband for money. Melody Felicano was born and raised in the Philippines, where she had a pretty normal childhood. She married her husband, Robbie Johnson, who was in the US Air Force sometime around 2005, and they had one child together. Like many couples, their relationship started out well, and they shared loving and memorable years together. But as time went on, things between them turned toxic, with each accusing the other of cheating. In the beginning of 2023, the couple was living in Germany, where Robbie had been deployed. By this time, their relationship had gotten so bad they had decided to get a divorce, though they still lived in the same house. Around March of that year, Robbie began to notice that his coffee tasted weird. At the time, he couldn't really put a finger on what was wrong, and probably thought that he was being paranoid. So he continued drinking it for around 2 to 3 weeks before he decided to investigate. He went and bought pool testing strips to determine what was causing the bad taste. He first tested the tap water in his home and saw that it was normal. So he tested his coffee and was shocked to find that it contained high levels of chlorine. Where could this have come from? Was someone deliberately spiking his coffee? If so, who? Robbie could only think of one person. This person knew that Robbie usually prepared his coffee pot at night, so he would only need to turn it on in the morning to make his coffee. This person was his wife of nearly 18 years and the mother of his child. At first, Robbie didn't want to believe that Melody would be capable of doing something as awful as poisoning his coffee. He thought of confronting her, but decided that he needed more evidence. Around May 2023, he secretly set up a camera in the house, hoping to catch her red-handed. But he was still not prepared for what he was about to see.
Tonight's the night I caught her on video. So let's test this water. It's gonna be purple. Boom. I knew it.
And this would not be the only time Melody is caught putting something in the coffee machine. In another video, she can be seen entering the kitchen at night and checking to see if the coffee maker has been prepared. She then grabs something from under the sink and pours it into the machine. Later in the video, Robbie is seen checking to see the coffee maker she'd tampered with. Robbie determined that Melody was actually using bleach to poison him. After this, he stopped drinking the coffee, but pretended that he was still drinking it because he didn't want to file a police report in Germany. He said that he knew that she would continue poisoning him, and he would catch her in the US.
15 minutes ago, while I was at work, I noticed her come over to the coffee maker and she did something. So I've got my tester. I'm going to add the water to see if there's chlorine and pH is off. Pretty certain it is because I saw the bleach bottle over here. I saw it being pulled out. That was pulled out. Oh, you can smell it from here. I can smell it. Looks fine. Don't know if it'll actually do anything. It'll change it since I've already put it in. Let's give it a shot here. Okay. Let's see if it'll do anything. Look at that. Totally changed. Wow. Wow. And then you can smell it. Like I can literally smell this. Fix this here. Yeah, I can literally smell this. You can see it sudsed up. Soapy. I guarantee it's slick too on the fingers. Yeah, slippery. Just gotta catch it in the States.
In late June 2023, Robbie and his family finally returned to the United States and were placed in temporary housing in the Air Force Base in Tucson, Arizona. Robbie set up a camera in the new home, hoping to find enough evidence to take to the police. On July 7th, he went to the police and showed them all the videos he had collected, showing Melody pouring something in his coffee. But the officers did not investigate further because the video footage he captured did not clearly show what liquid Melody was pouring in the coffee maker. Although disappointed, Robbie was not discouraged by this. He was determined to get justice, and so he went and bought more cameras that looked like fire alarms and attached them to the ceiling. He waited until they were placed into permanent housing and then set up cameras around the house, including the kitchen above the coffee maker, in the laundry room where the bleach was kept, and on the path that led from the laundry to the coffee maker. With these cameras, Melody was caught multiple times appearing to pour bleach into a container in the laundry room, walking it into the next room, and then pouring it into the coffee maker. Other times she was caught on camera looking over her shoulder as she seemingly poured the chemical into the machine.
You can tell by the video from there and from there that I have not messed with this coffee maker. I just arrived home about an hour ago and I figured now I decided I'm going to test this to show that it's definitely tainted. So I'll test this wire with this new strip, and then I'll use the same strip once I put it in the coffee maker. No big change. It stinks. Same strip. Big change.
Robbie's test strips tested positive for chlorine in each of these occasions.
So this morning I checked this coffee maker and the pH and chlorine test came out normal. So I cleaned my coffee pot out after I made coffee, and it drained all day. So I came back this evening and this smells again. So I'm going to do a test. In. Oh, it smells. I can smell it. I can smell it. It's soapy. Watch this. Guaranteed. You're gonna see purple. Boom.
Sometimes the chemical in the coffee would be so strong that you could actually smell it from a distance.
Like I do every day, I clean this thing out after I test it. This back is very slippery right now from after I rinsed. It smells like bleach. Looks like the bleach has a new location. That purple lid is now over here. Let's see what it smells like. No smell. Doesn't smell.
Other times, the coffee maker would get soapy when the water was poured in, and it would take several washes to completely rinse it out.
Today's the strongest it's been. I've been rinsing it out at least 7-8 times. It's still very sudsy, bubbly, soapy. She was off today. She didn't work. Today's the most that I'm having to clean it. Whatever's in there is a lot of it.
After collecting multiple videos that showed Melody pouring bleach into the coffee maker, he went back to the police and showed them his evidence. He reportedly told the officers,
I am dead certain, at least that she's a narcissist, at the minimum. And I can talk about that for a long time. I think there's something going on.
He said that he noticed that his coffee started tasting different when he filed for divorce in March of 2023, while they were living in Germany. He said that the coffee would taste really bad when it cooled off, but he didn't want to do anything about it while they were outside of the country.
I think I told them that I'm glad I didn't do it in Germany because I don't think, based on what I had there, that anything would have stuck. I just don't. That's why I had to be patient. But I say this because I am mad. I feel betrayed. But at the end of the day, I worry for her. I do.
He told the police that he was the only one who ever drank from the coffee maker and that he believed Melody was trying to kill him so that she could get his life insurance policy. He said that he found out that Melanie had bought a home in the Philippines without telling him and that she had been asking around about his insurance, so he made someone else the beneficiary. He told detectives, I moved everything. She doesn't know it, but my opinion, she's driven by money. That's what she wants. On July 18th, the police arrested Melody at home, but she immediately invoked her right to an attorney, so she was not questioned. During a search of the home, police found that the liquid inside the coffee maker smelled like bleach. They also found a container inside her bedroom under her bathroom sink, which smelled like bleach and had a very small amount of liquid inside it. Police reports revealed that Robbie and Melody lived in separate bedrooms and had separate bathrooms.
This morning, an alleged poisoning caught on camera. Tucson police investigating these videos obtained by ABC News that airman Robbie Johnson claims shows his wife, Melody, trying to poison him by pouring bleach into his coffee maker in the midst of a contentious divorce. In a probable cause complaint, Johnson alleging the poisoning attempts began in March while the couple lived in Germany and continued when they moved back to Arizona. After noticing his coffee was tasting bad, he bought Pull chemical testing strips, which showed high levels of chlorine in his coffee pot.
During her first court appearance on August 4th, 2023, Melody pleaded not guilty to charges of trying to kill her husband. She was held on a bond of $250,000 after the prosecution said that she was a flight risk because she had family in the Philippines and had recently bought a house there. That same month, she was indicted by a grand jury on charges of first-degree attempted murder, attempting to commit aggravated assault, and poisoning food or drink.
It was shocking enough to reread the court paperwork twice. Melody was trying to poison him by pouring bleach into his coffee maker. Yep, that's real life. And now Melody Johnson is facing real charges of attempted first-degree murder. But as a toxicologist points out,
this was not a very good plan if the goal was to, kill him or injure him significantly.
This case got a lot of media attention, not only because of how bizarre the details were, but also because of the amount of footage that showed Melody actually committing the crime.
It's surprising to see that type of video. I mean, I have not seen a case with these set of facts in my career.
The fact that Melody had done this for months showed that she truly intended to kill her husband or cause him serious harm. But luckily for Robbie, she did not do enough research to know that her choice of poison was not strong enough to do the job she intended it to.
It would take a lot of bleach to poison somebody.
Household bleach is not even quite that strong.
According to toxicologists, the most that bleach would have done was cause mild irritation and discomfort.
Burning sensation to their throat, where they may even get some chest discomfort as well as some stomach discomfort.
She also never considered the strong, distinct smell of bleach, or the fact that Robbie would be able to tell the difference between his normal coffee and the coffee that had been spiked with bleach. But while there seemed to be a lot of evidence against her, experts said that there are some loopholes in the videos that her lawyer could use to defend her.
Is it the same strip, right? Is it the same strip? Is it the same pitcher of water, right? Because there are moments in the video where both one or the other or both are off screen. How did they determine that video A links up with video B, links up with video C? Those would be things that I'm sure people look at.
In April 2024, before her trial began, Melody took a plea deal and pleaded guilty to 2 counts of the lesser felony charge of adding poison or harmful substance to food or drink. Under this plea deal, she faced up to 2 years in prison, along with probation.
So, Ms. Johnson, the plea agreement that I've been handed indicates that you are considering pleading guilty today to amended count 2 and amended count 3. Both of those are adding poison or harmful substance to food or drink, which is a Class 6 designated felony. Is that your understanding of what you're here to do today? Yes, ma'am. Under this plea agreement, there is a possibility that you would be sentenced to prison. If you are sentenced to prison, the prison range could be anywhere from a mitigated sentence of 0.33 years to an aggravated sentence of 2 years with a presumptive sentence of 1 year. Do you understand that? Yes.
Her sentencing hearing was set for May 10, 2024, during which time her defense asked for the sentence to be time served, saying that Melody had been in custody for almost a year because she was not able to post a $250,000 bond.
Melody Johnson has been in custody for nearly a year with no meaningful opportunity for release. She's been held on a $250,000 bond. I can't even afford that. Not that that's a shock to anyone. We also welcome probation, but we do not believe that more time incarcerated is appropriate. Melody Johnson has accepted responsibility for her actions in this matter. She has, as indicated by the pre-sentence report, apologized to the victim, Robbie Johnson. She makes no excuse for her conduct, and that was in her letter to the court. She has also apologized to her friends and her family because they have also been greatly affected by this, given the nature of the attention around this case.
Like in many similar cases, the defense used the mental health defense, saying that Melody had suffered from anxiety and depression.
Mrs. Johnson has received formal diagnoses for anxiety and depression, and it is true what Mrs. Otto has said. She has long struggled with her mental health. She currently feels stable and has been taking medications while in custody. She intends to continue treatment upon release.
The defense also detailed Melody's toxic marriage to Robbie, in which she claimed that Robbie was abusive towards Melody and had drinking problems. She also said that Robbie could be struggling with his own mental health issues because of his deployment.
What I'm about to say next is not in any way to shift blame to the victim, but we do regularly talk about abuse as a mitigating factor. Mrs. Johnson experienced abuse in her marriage to Robbie Johnson. The two had been married for nearly 18 years. And it is worth repeating, as stated in her letter, that she makes no excuse for her actions before the court. The two shared loving and memorable years, and there were many years that their relationship was also toxic, as described by the victim. Mrs. Johnson regularly raised concerns over Mr. Johnson's drinking habits. He had been known to come home late often, drunk, blacked out, smelling of cigarettes, and seeking sexual activity from Mrs. Johnson. She very vividly remembers an instance in which she pushed him away and he threatened suicide. It terrified her. It terrified her son. She often was quiet about these instances because she knew how important Robbie's career was to him.
The defense went on to say that Melody was a non-violent first-time offender and that what she did, while illegal, would not have killed Robbie or caused him serious harm.
Mrs. Johnson is not violent, nor is she a future threat to Robbie Johnson. The events before the court are unusual in nature and atypical of Mrs. Johnson. They arose out of a marriage that was falling apart. They are separating, they're not going to be living together, and a divorce is pending. It is important to note that while Mrs. Johnson's actions, while illegal, unusual, could not have amounted to serious harm, and that is why I attached the reports in my memorandum to the court. Robbie Johnson reported experiencing no symptoms to police, and it is our position, and it remains our position, that the small amount of bleach used in the offenses would never have killed or seriously harmed Robbie Johnson. It could have made him sick.
After this, the judge was ready to hand down the sentence, and much to everybody's shock, he decided to give Melody probation, saying that even the victim had told the court that he did not want her to end up in prison.
This time the court enters the following findings. The court finds an aggravation. There was emotional harm to the victim. The court finds a mitigation. The defendant accepts responsibility. She expressed remorse in her letter to counsel. These are his first felony. The victim recommends probation and mental health treatment rather than punishment with more jail and or prison, which the court takes into account. Defendant appears rehabilitatable and amenable to probation. Given all that's before me, it would be the sentence of the court that she be placed on 3 years of probation, the terms to be concurrent with each other, to begin on today's date, May 10th, 2024.
Along with probation, Melody was ordered to undergo mental health evaluation and treatment and to not have any contact with Robbie.
So not to have any contact with the victim in any form unless it's approved in writing by probation. What is the status of is there a divorce case pending?
There is.
Or they would have to have contact?
They are both represented by attorneys.
Right, so we'll just show they're not to have contact, or she's not to have contact with him unless it's in a legal context.
Sure.
This ruling was met with a lot of mixed reactions, with many people struggling to understand how she ended up getting a slap on the wrist after attempting to take someone's life.
Well, yeah, I mean, this is certainly a strange case, at least the way, it began. You have a very serious charge of attempted murder. You take a look at, the facts of this case and the fact that there's admissions that the defendant admitted to what she did. And then you end up with a probationary sentence. Now, of course, I believe she spent a year in jail pending this case, so she never made bond. So essentially, she's getting credit for that time that she's served already. But she's walking out the door at the time of sentencing because she's already served the entire length of her incarceration, and she'll now just be under supervision.
Many felt that she should have gotten at least 5 years in prison, but her plea deal and the fact that the victim didn't want her to go to prison played a major role in getting her the lighter sentence. Her mental health issue was also an important factor in the sentencing.
So, a mental illness could mitigate a sentence, which might otherwise be lengthier. Maybe it's in everybody's best interest that she's released and she has an opportunity to participate in mental health counseling and other things that might not have been available to her in prison. I mean, putting bleach in somebody's coffee certainly indicates your premeditation to want to harm or even kill that person, because ingesting bleach can certainly be lethal, and so that's an important aspect.
Although the crime was clearly premeditated and despicable, experts believe that the fact that she didn't really go out of her way and put a lot of effort into her despicable plan played into her mental health narrative and made her seem like a low-risk threat.
But, when I looked at this, I thought, well, you're putting bleach in coffee. I mean, that should be detectable just by the odor of the coffee. This isn't the kind of crime where she necessarily went out and got some, toxin that you couldn't smell and you couldn't taste, and put that in his coffee. This whole diabolical plan, of killing somebody without them knowing that they're even being poisoned. Here it seems like sort of, a lackluster effort, at killing somebody, or just that you really didn't think it through, and maybe you're acting because of something that occurred recently, or maybe you're acting because of this mental defect that you have. So while I think you're exactly right that it shows an intent to kill, on the other hand, it shows just how sort of ill prepared she was to carry out what she wanted to do.
But what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell button for more content.